Hello, my name is Geogen and welcome back to Armoured Warfare. Today I am giving you some more Global Ops gameplay here, running through what I managed to achieve in the ERC 90F4. It's a tier 5 tank destroyer. We are in tier 7 matchmaking, but that doesn't really matter due to the good mobility, the good gun and the good DPM of this tank. It's got 230 odd pen. Well, it's probably, I think it's 229 pen with the AP rounds. You can fire heat, they have less pen obviously, but more damage. And you can see this side of the Leopard 2A5, I know it says fragile, and it's a AI, but we, did a reasonable amount of damage on him. Putting in about 3 or 4 good shots, I believe. One of them did bounce, but never mind. M2 Bradley and VFM could be problematic, so we pulled back. Problematic because this tank, the tank destroyer, has no armor at all, 12mm on all sides, and that won't block anything more than the occasional 20mm or 30mm round if you're very lucky. Of course, you can get the tyres damaged and popped, and therefore you may be able to not take damage that way, but for the most part 1300 hit points is going to get whittled down very quickly if you get shot. A VBL there. He manages to avoid my fire. He did the right play in terms of switching left and right, but for some reason he's elected to use the missiles. Now, missiles you might think are quite good against targets such as the ERC. Well, yes and no. Yes, because the armor is only 12mm and it's steel, but no, because this has APS. It used to have infinite APS before they changed it, where you now only have 5 charges, and there's about a 50-second gap between them, maybe a minute even. I didn't actually see, but you can see that white progress bar in the middle of the screen. So we decided to go around, and that's basically what you have to do in this kind of vehicle: is flank, maneuver, fire, destroy, or damage, and then get out of there. And try not to crash into large objects like I have. Gun depression wise, the tank has good gun depression. I believe it's 10 degrees over the front and sides and rear. I think it used to be slightly different until they buffed it, so it was all round good gun depression. And you can see that we got hit by that 2AV. Instant penetration, damaged one of our tyres, but we have 6. Another thing is, you don't have tracks, so you can never get tracked in this vehicle, but you can have your terrain resistances or your ground resistances damaged severely if more than, say, 3 tyres are damaged, especially on one side. There's an M60A3 at tier 5 MBT, but because he's showing his side, we can just hit him in pretty much anywhere. He has angled slightly better now, but his engine was still available. That engine, by the way, can be penetrated by HE from the side even. There's a little ridge just above the tracks which you can hit and do maximum damage on, and if you're not firing HE, you can do good damage with critical hits into the engine of that tank and every other tank in the game. A Leopard 105, another tier 5 MBT, but this one has very poor armor, except on the front of the turret with that nice applique armor around the sides. But you can see this DPM of the gun, 3.69 second reload time. It just stacks the damage up very quickly, especially if targets are in the open. Of course, that guy has done the right thing and dived into cover before he gets absolutely massacred by the gun. But see if he pops out. No, he disappears. We know there's one enemy in that UAV capture zone, or drone zone, whatever you want to call it. UAV is probably just something I call it because of, playing a lot of games with that in back in the day, like, Call of Duty and such. Anyway, there's one of those critical hits I was on about into the engine for almost 400 damage. You can see, well, you may have been keeping up, but the damage for the AP rounds is roughly 300 to 350. Of course, there are some low rolls and some high rolls, but Heat rounds, on the other hand, do around 400 average damage, again, plus or minus about 50 or 100 depending. And HE, of course, depends on if you penetrate the vehicle. You notice how that ERC fired at us and the shell time of his round was very long, and again there, which would indicate to me he's firing heat, as heat rounds have very low velocity in comparison to AP. It would be more efficient for me to hit him with heat, as that would do the most damage, but he is at a long distance, so we're going to fire AP rounds. Managed to get rid of that M60, put another one into this Leopard. He pulls forward again. I don't think he expected our reload time to be that good, but he pulls back into cover. Missiles are being fired at us from somewhere, and artillery is getting involved, but we still have 600 odd hit points. He fires smoke, but he's obviously been spotted by another one of our friendlies. Missiles from behind, let me snap VBL from earlier. Artillery again. Decide to get rid of this VBL as he will be a bit of a problem. Shoot him through the window there of his tank and reload to get him before he reverses out of the way. However, I'm only on 185 hit points. A lot of fires incoming now. I believe that's the BMD2 firing at me. Shot from the left there damages our APS. We should have died then and there, but that was quite lucky. APS is mounted externally on the tank. At the back of the turret you can see that little, I don't know, traffic light symbol? Traffic light thing. Piece of machinery anyway. Managed to destroy one of those deployable bunkers. And maybe get a little bit more damage on this one, unless it's behind some cover, which it is. Maybe we can get a sneaky shot there. Yeah, we can. And we're down to our heat rounds as well. Heat rounds, AP rounds, HE rounds, I think they all do the same amount of damage on pillboxes, so it doesn't matter. You can see there that we weren't able to hit our first heat round, but the second one goes in and does some nice damage to our opposing number. 124 hit points remain. BMD2 up there goes out of sight. Not going to get a shot on him unless we're very lucky. Now he's behind a lot of cover. And so we go back and see if there are any more targets approaching from this way. Look right, look left, look right again. T9 EMS. Nope, can't get a shot on him. Can we get a shot over here? We've been spotted. And I stayed still for too long and we got killed by that Leopard from earlier. Now, I don't actually know what that Leopard was, so he was obviously using the vision provided by one of his allies, but that doesn't matter. And in this game mode, of course, like in the TA match, you can respawn, and that makes it a lot more, you know, interesting and enjoyable to play. Especially if you know, cock up at the beginning, and then you're like, oh well, I'm out the game now, what can I do? I have to wait, you know, up to 10 minutes, say, before that tank comes back in a normal PvP game. Of course, PvP is still in the game, but we're back in, and our first shot goes quite nice into that ERC. Second shot goes into some cover in front of him. Next shot is AP because of the distance and because he'd already been hit, and would pull back into cover before we probably would hit the next heat round. Then again, we might have been lucky, but that was just my decision at the time. Objectives have changed again. Of course, they had changed before during the first life, but now we're on last stage. We do have a 500 point advantage roughly, with the tickets at the top left, and we're capping 6 and 8 on the objectives. We managed to secure 8, and that will provide us a little bit more income, reputation, etc. at the end of the game. Targets on the right there. Ah, look, a Leopard from earlier. He's on half HP, so we should be able to deal with him before he takes us down. This is a little bit risky considering we have no armor, but then again, he seems a little distracted, so we're going to get at least one shot in. If I didn't hit him in the turret, that would have gone in. But then again, the reload is good enough. He hits us once, obviously, we hit twice, and the third shot goes in. We managed to get 3 shots, in fact 4 shots on target before he managed to reload too. So There you go. But to be fair, it was more likely a 3 versus 1 trade mechanic there for shots. Leopard 2 AV, that got us. Managed to get 2 shots into him, and a Merkava 2D. Now the Merkava Merkava is a very good frontal armor. It's not composite, but side armor can be easily penetrated by us and autocannons. I was going to fire heat there. You may have seen that the chevron, aiming chevron, went red, which would indicate that the side skirts were effective enough at blocking heat rounds. Enemy aircraft coming in. Managed to take down 2 of us, but we're well out of the blast zone, so we don't go down. The sandstorm is now coming, which means we now have a bit better camouflage, but less visibility of our own. So it's kind of a global effect that it does affect every single vehicle, not just those with good camo rating or those with bad camo rating. That shot right there, if the geometry of the map was slightly better, would have connected. But we managed to get our second shot in. Unfortunately, he manages to hit us again. And then we wait until he's unspotted, until I'm unspotted as well. Pull forward. Hopefully he's looking the other way. Yes, he is. And we take him down on the move. This gun has quite good stabilization. APS. Very nice pit kit on a very lightly armed tank. Tank destroyer. We can deal with that. Well, we can deal with 1 missile at a time, obviously, because of the 45-50 second delay. Now, in hindsight, I shouldn't have really gone forward here. We can't really pen a Leopard 2 AV even from the front lower plate. So, doing that was a foolish decision, and we take a missile from behind from the VBL. That was foolish play. We should have just broken contact completely and gone back onto the aircraft carrier or similar. That Leopard 2 AV is coming for us. We're on very low HP. He fluffs his shot, and we're kind of trapped here because of VBL. VBL fires another missile. We fire 1 heat round. He fires another missile, and we fire. But the 2 AV gets us just before we pulled the trigger. So, if the 2 AV wasn't there, we would have been able to do deal with the VBL because of our APS and our good rate of fire, but that was just a foolish bit of play. But in the end, it doesn't even matter, as we win. So the ERC 90 F4 is a very good tank. I do like it in PvP, PvE, and this game mode. In this game mode, you do have a lot more space to maneuver. You don't feel so cramped. Your lack of armor is, you know, not a disadvantage per se compared to PvP. But there we go. 11,600 damage in a tier 7 game in a tier 5 tank. Pretty damn good. The top player on their team, tier 7 Stingray 2, did a similar amount of damage, but who's to say, well, he's tier 7, so lots of good credit income there. Not on a premium account. I haven't actually activated my premium time for some reason, but there it is. I would recommend playing this tank if you haven't already, but I hope you enjoyed the gameplay, and as always, I've been Geogen, and I'll see you chaps and chapettes in the next one.